nothing to you, but understand nothing was done for me, so I don't plan on stopping at all. I want this forever, may, never may, never may. I shut it out at the mall and telling every girl she the one for me.
Welcome to Ajay and Nathan Discuss Movies, the show where we discuss movies old and new. Today, a new movie that came out quite recently, I think this past week, I want to say, that you can go see in the theaters now. But Ajay, what is that movie and who directed it?
So the movie is titled The Phoenician Scheme, directed by Wes Anderson, starring Benicio del Toro, Michael Cera, Tom Hanks, Bryan, Cranston, and many other people. It's a stat cast.
Big ensemble cast, as is per usual with Wes Anderson. And Ajay, can you tell us what this movie is about?
So The Phoenician Scheme stars Benicio del Toro as he is the head or the CEO, business owner of this very big venture capital in which he develops land and develops these high-speed sort of rail situations. And it basically documents his life in terms of him thwarting assassination attempts, because there are people within his board, within, of that, things of that nature that want him to die. Yeah. And it's basically a journey of him trying to thwart off these assassination attempts while also trying to reconnect with his supposed daughter. And the film basically discusses that in detail. And obviously, people get lost within the jargon of the business talk, as you discussed or alluded to before we started the cameras to roll. But that's basically what The Phoenician Scheme is about.
All right, nice. And can you tell us, how'd you feel about it? Did you like this movie? Did you hate this movie? What are your thoughts?
So I enjoyed it. I think that I think you sort of know what you're expecting. You sort of know what to expect when you walk into a Wes Anderson movie. You expect a very sort of Wes Anderson-like feel with symmetrical, palettes and designs, and, the cinematography is very much unique in his own sense. So in that department, I enjoyed it. I sort of knew what I was going to expect out of this movie, so I enjoyed it. There were issues that I had with this movie, which we'll sort of get into later. But I did enjoy the story. I enjoyed the dynamic between the characters. I thought Bryan Cranston and Tom Hanks really added great comic relief to this movie. Riz Ahmed also did really well. So if you sort of know if you sort of expect a Wes Anderson movie and like a Wes Anderson movie, you'll enjoy it. But obviously, I watched this with two other people. Not friends of mine, but two older ladies, which is very much apropos. For
and they became friends with you afterwards.
No, sure. But I can definitely tell that they were sort of lost in the sauce of this movie. So yeah, it's a nice sort of palate cleanser, I'd say. Sort of a nice visual movie that you sort of watch and enjoy. But I wouldn't say that I loved it.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on this movie?
Yeah, no. This has been my first Wes Anderson movie in quite a while. I didn't watch Asteroid City, and I didn't watch The French Connection. In my head, I think I had kind of written off Wes Anderson completely, because I think I got kind of sick of like the Wes Anderson aesthetic. And then I sit down for this movie and I have a really nice time. I think what happened was, I think you just need some space between Wes Anderson movies to remind you of why, why they're so unique, what's really good about them, their visual style, their cinematography, their characters, and the writing, his just quirky sensibilities. That all hit me in a strong way, and I was very, very charmed by this movie. It is not perfect. It is not his best movie. I think a lot of enjoyment of Wes Anderson comes out of whether or not you think he's already made his best movie. And I guess kind of a cool thing about him is that any movie you could choose of his could be his best movie, and there's always a solid argument for that. I'm sure in a year or two people will have arguments like, oh, The Phoenician Scheme is his best movie, and I'm sure they will have good points to support that. But as it stands right now, this is a solid little Wes Anderson adventure with some great and unique characters, a cast that is, I love the way he uses his cast, the way they are all given, they'll show up for one scene, but they're given these fun quirks and just fun things to do. It is a very good time.
So you didn't watch Asteroid City, right?
I've not seen Asteroid City or The French Connection.
I will say that I enjoyed this film a lot more than Asteroid City, because even though that this film does have quips, it wasn't over the top compared to Asteroid City, and it didn't feel as if it was trying to like demean you or try to like make you feel less intelligent.
Yeah.
Or when I watched Asteroid City, I felt as if I was watching like a longer episode of The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
This does not feel like
That's
that.
a big insult.
Is it?
A little bit.
That's it. Bye-bye. Bazinga!
But I felt like with this film, like the humor flowed evenly well.
Yeah.
It never took me out of the film because it fits alongside the Wes Anderson dialogue that we've come to appreciate and like and respect. But I think that as soon as the third act sort of turns, as soon as we see the arrival of Benedict Cumberbatch's character,
Yeah.
I felt like the movie really kicked into high gear.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started to really enjoy the movie, as opposed to me sort of being half in, half out of the movie.
Yeah. I'd say I'd agree. Half in, half out is that's a good way to describe it. That's kind of the feelings I was getting during the movie, because I was having a lot of fun with it, but I couldn't say whether or not for certain I was fully immersed, fully engaged, because I think you said earlier as well that it gets very deep into like his business operations and like what he's trying to succeed in that department. That stuff isn't important to the story. What's important and why you're watching this movie is the characters and their interactions and their relationships. That's all the enjoyable stuff. When we get into the weeds about it, he's like, oh, who's gonna cover the gap on this? Like, oh, they've raised the price of rivets, they've crashed the market. It's like that's stuff like my brain shut off for, because it's like I don't understand the industrial business market. It's just it's out of my wheelhouse. I don't get it.
There were segments in this film where it was just devoted to the board meeting.
Yeah.
And as soon as they started talking about business,
yeah,
my mind was
business,
just like,
business.
What are we doing? Like, what are they talking about? What are they discussing?
Yeah.
This is way too in-depth. They're using like very long and like eloquent vocabulary to describe the most menial task.
Yeah.
Why is this? But you realize that, oh, it's Wes Anderson. It's his quirk. It's who he is. You have to appreciate it. And I realized that like Benicio del Toro is like the standout in this film, because if you threw this role at anybody else, I feel as if the film would fall flat on his face. But Benicio del Toro is so captivating and so charismatic that he allows you to breathe with the setting, with the characters of this film.
I completely agree. Watching this movie, I was like, wow, we really need to talk about Benicio del Toro in like the same breath we talk about like Denzel Washington. Just like one of these actors working today that's like one of the best, cream of the crop. He is up there, and he gives such a great performance. He's simultaneously very charismatic, but also kind of like he's a slimy businessman, but he's just effortlessly just so very charming. And the entire cast is great. Kind of the trio in this movie is him, Michael Cera, and oh my god, Mia Threapleton, I want to say, Kate Winslet's daughter. But they have just they're the trio for this movie, just going on little adventures, traveling the world, and just their entire dynamic is just so fun. Where they take Michael Cera's character.
Yeah, we can get into spoiler
in this
alerts
movie.
now.
It's amazing. No,
We
Michael
can get into
Cera is so good.
spoilers.
We can. It's not a lot to spoil, but it's like he plays a CIA operative. He starts off as this European bug expert. He's like, have you seen the little Beatles? The little Beatles, the praying mantis, just they will eat their mates. And just his accent is so silly. And then he has a switch where he's like, I'm actually a CIA double agent. I was born in Arkansas, and I'm a moderate conservative politically. Just like he has that scene where he like ruffles up his hair and he puts a cigarette in his mouth and he just kind of poses for the camera. That it absolutely killed me watching this movie and everything Michael Cera was doing. He struck me as the kind of actor, I don't know if this is true, but it's like, who doesn't need notes? He will just make the right choice on set on the day, and the director's just like, that's perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. I got nothing to give you. You're doing perfect, Michael.
What's happening to me? What's happening? Oh shit, that's embarrassing.
So obviously we kind of got into spoiler territory.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll just get right into spoilers. Were there any moments in this film that kind of detracted you from like really fully loving it? Because I will say there's moments in the second act or parts of the second act that felt as if it was a little sloggy.
A little bit.
Meaning that they didn't know what to do. It was a little sort of lackadaisical, for lack of a better word.
I think it's actually kind of a good word to lackadaisical.
Yeah, it felt as if we were just going in different directions, meeting different people that didn't really serve a... I wouldn't say it didn't serve a purpose, but it definitely felt as if we were just stalling time for the inevitable.
You were kind of looking for the through line with all of this. And I guess that middle chunk of the movie is him trying to find somebody to pay for his big industrial project. I guess, I don't know. There was a point in the movie where trying to understand the logistics of his business and
The business jargon kind of...
the business jargon, I was like, don't focus on that. Just enjoy the ride. Just enjoy the ride. Don't worry about that. Don't try to understand it. Just enjoy
Benedict Cumberbatch's beady blue eyes.
Yeah, just enjoy his ridiculous eyebrows and very obviously silly fake beard. Just try to enjoy that. And I did, but you get a little lost in the weeds with that. Like when they show up to see Scarlett Johansson, and I didn't know exactly what was happening. He's like trying to marry her, and he's like, can you cover this? And she has a story about like her dad and his dad, or like him and her dad, and I couldn't understand. I didn't know what was happening in that sequence exactly. I was trying again to be just like, just enjoy the ride, but it's like, I don't know what anyone is saying, and I don't understand what's happening. I got a little lost there, and that's something that happens in all these little sequences because they're bouncing from place to place, meeting new wacky characters, but it's like I throw the business jargon, I throw the story away, and I'm just enjoying the moment with these characters. Like, I don't know why they're challenging Tom Hanks and Bryan Cranston to pick up basketball game. I don't know why, but I know it's one of the funniest goddamn things I've ever seen.
I think it was to build more land or to develop the rails more.
Someone is supposed to pay for the rest of the rail, something like that, and Riz Ahmed has no idea how basketball is played, even then they just keep saying, just like, you'll do fine. It's like, I literally don't, what is this game? They're just like, you have to bounce the ball before you throw it. But that was a good try. It was a good try, Riz Ahmed.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that those standout scenes, the basketball scene, I think that's what really makes it like its own unique film. Because I feel like if you threw this project to any other director, they played very straightforward. They played with not a lot of humor attached to it. They would make it a much more sort of, rigid film, meaning like very like within the confines of the box film.
Yeah.
But I feel like with Wes Anderson, he was able to like sort of deconstruct it
Yeah.
and make it in a way that was uniquely his.
Yeah.
And I think in that regard, in that aspect, it really made me sort of find this film endearing.
Yeah, there is such an endearing nature, and I think that all has to do with Wes Anderson, his style, his sensibilities, the way he writes characters and directs his actors, the look of his movies. It all just kind of worms its way into your brain and just like feels like I'm seeing like a new world. I'm seeing something that I haven't seen before. His colors, his use of space, his sets, they all just are so him. And it's great that he's still like, we have a director like him operating at his level where he can just make whatever he wants, just kind of constantly. Just like Wes Anderson will always make Wes Anderson movies, and regardless of how anyone might feel about like, you know, the actual movies themselves, it's still super cool that he can just do what he wants. He can just make a Wes Anderson
I mean,
movie.
it doesn't hurt to have a billionaire financing you.
Oh, who's financing him?
It was one of the producers. Like
Oh,
for the
okay.
past, ever since I think Darjeeling Limited, ever since 2007, he's had a billionaire financier behind
Well,
his
I
projects.
noticed one of the producers was like one of the 97 Coppolas.
Yeah, Roman Coppola.
Yeah, so, you know. But hey, it's good that he is an artist that has the money to do what he wants to do.
Yeah, and like I feel like the fact that he's able to like bypass the studio system of like trying to like get his movies focus tested or seeing whether or not, you know, there's so many add-ons to attach this film to in terms of how other studios would prepare or present this film to a general audience. The fact that he's able to bypass all of that and just make films that are unique and organic to himself, I think that is a lost art within the filmmaking process.
It is, yeah.
And I think in a lot of ways, we got to commend Wes Anderson for doing that.
Absolutely.
Even if his style may be considered a little too unoriginal at this point, I think that it's important to like celebrate filmmakers that are able to just go there and be original in their own unique way instead of just trying to hop onto the trends of what Hollywood wants directors to make.
Yeah, no. Wes Anderson will always be making Wes Anderson movies, and I love that.
Yeah.
I love that for him.
Do you think that this film, are you familiar with the older Wes Anderson films? Like Bottle Rocket or things of that nature?
I've seen Rushmore, Darjeeling Limited. I want to say
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah, Fantastic
Grand
Mr.
Budapest
Fox.
Hotel.
Yeah.
Life Aquatic.
Yeah.
Steve Zissou.
So a majority of the
yeah,
Wes Anderson
What do you
movies.
say that this is on par with those films, or a little less than better than those films, or better than those films?
This isn't my favorite of his. This is, I'd say, if I were to rank all his movies, which would be a task, I'd say this is still good. I still enjoy myself, but this is about in the middle of his movies. I can't see myself rewatching this the way I would rewatch like Fantastic Mr. Fox or Grand Budapest. Those two movies, I'd say those are kind of his opuses. Those are like, Grand Budapest is definitely my favorite of his, but this feels more in the spirit of Grand Budapest. I don't think it's as good, but it has that adventurous spirit. You have your cast of characters, you have your lead, like Benicio del Toro reminds me a lot of Ralph Fiennes in that movie, just kind of a man who lives in his own little world and he's kind of just like, he's making everyone play by like his rules. I love Benicio's little he has a short little monologue where he's like, I don't need a passport because I'm not a resident or citizen of any country because my human rights would slow me down. It's just like extreme close up on his face. He's like, I don't need human rights.
I will say that the final battle scene between Benedict Cumberbatch's character and Benicio del Toro we didn't even mention that, but I think that really like holds the film together because like there's so much level of suspense. even before then, like there were levels of suspense, like that opening plane crash scene, in which one of the people was ejected, the pilot or one of the people in the back.
The pilot gets ejected. The other guy in the back, his entire torso just explodes.
Yeah.
And it was shocking to see that level of gore.
They need one of us.
Wes Anderson.
They need one of us to survive the wreckage, brother. Very Dark Knight.
It would be extremely painful. But and then the gag of like the guy who dies there, and then the very next time they get on the plane, Michael Cera is in the exact same spot.
Yeah,
is just so funny.
And I think that this film, this is why I kind of prefer it over Asteroid Cities, because there's suspense to it. Yes, it's in bits and pieces. It's not like throughout the entirety of the movie. It's more sort of comedic and quippy. But I do think that there's a level of suspense that really kept me engaged and intrigued in the movie that I didn't see with Asteroid City.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can't. I agree, even though I haven't seen Asteroid City, but I do agree there is a level of suspense. This is almost like Wes Anderson's version of like a spy film in a weird way. You have the government trying to assassinate this industrialist or like ruin his business. Michael Cera shows up as a double agent. There's the communist rebels when they break into that like nightclub, and Richard Ayoade is just like shooting at the ceiling after every sentence. He's like, "We will be taking your purses and we'll be donating them to homeless shelters," and he just unloads a machine gun into the ceiling.
Jeffrey Wright was also really good in this movie.
Jeffrey Wright, I love Jeffrey Wright.
He's so good.
Just in general, when he opens the door, he's like, "Hey, hi, how you doing, guys? Come on in, guys. Hey, how you doing?" I love that he's become a new player in the Wes Anderson kind of box. He's great. Love Jeffrey Wright.
Yes, we love. Well, yeah, this is a great cast, and I think in a lot of ways, like the cast is what makes the film hold together.
Exactly.
I wish Adrian Brody was in it.
Yeah, no, I read Benedict Cumberbatch as like, oh, I can't get Adrian Brody. Let me get the next best thing, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Are you excited for his new movie coming out later this year with Olivia Colman?
Oh, where they're like a couple breaking up.
Yeah,
it looks okay. It's written by the guy who did Poor Things.
Yeah,
I think that could be okay. Could be good. I don't know.
Oh yeah. So there's not much to really add about this film.
No,
so we'll
not really. You
give parting thoughts.
Yeah,
concluding thoughts.
You get what you get with Wes Anderson, and whether you like that or not, there's a lot of respect to be had. I personally really liked what I got. It was funny. It was kind of zany at times. You could get a little lost in the plot, but you have these really great characters, really unique characters going on these fun little adventures, and that holds the whole thing together. So the Phoenician scheme, it's pretty darn good. Pretty good.
Yeah, I similar thoughts. I feel like Wes Anderson is our generation's Woody Allen. That all the films sort of somewhat bleed into one another. They don't feel that different. They all sort of have the same vibe, the same sort of comedic humor to it. Some suspense here and there. So if you go into the theater knowing what to expect, you'll enjoy it.
Yes.
If you don't like Wes Anderson's previous films, you may not enjoy this film. But I feel like in a lot of ways his films are like Licorice.
Yeah.
Like those who like Licorice really love Licorice. I like Wes Anderson movies.
Yeah.
I don't love them. I like them. This film I really enjoy.
Yeah. One bag of licorice is pretty good, but you give me like 5 bags of licorice, I'm not eating all that.
Yeah, it's a little too mundane to, finish 5 bags of licorice. That's crazy.
5 bags of licorice. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wes Anderson movies like 5 bags of licorice.
Yeah, I give this film 4 out of 5 bags of licorice.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 red wines.
That's how that's the scale you grade a Wes Anderson movie on, is like this. I give this like 4 out of 5 hard candies.
Yeah. So those are our thoughts on the movie.
Those are our thoughts on the Phoenician scheme.
I watched The Materialists yesterday.
Yeah, do you want to talk about the Materialists? I don't think I'm going to see
I'll briefly
it, but
discuss
if
it.
you wanna...
I'm not going to like do an entire review on it, but I thoroughly loved it.
Okay.
I thought it was a great movie. I watched it with mostly a female crowd.
Attaboy.
And I felt like there was a strange overlap between people who watched this movie in theaters and those who keenly are aware of the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively drama. I felt like there was a strange overlap in the target audience between those two. I enjoyed it. It was not your typical rom-com. It's very much like the dialogue is very trippy at times.
Okay.
It feels very Eyes Wide Shut in a lot of ways, where it's very sort of hollow, but a lot of substance to it.
Okay. Interesting.
And it's very eye-opening. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a great movie. And obviously there are people that may dislike it because, Dakota Johansson and whatnot, because people may think Dakota Johnson's not a good actor. I enjoy her. I thought she was really good in this movie. But I loved it a lot. I'm not going to lie. It really kept me on the edge of my... This was like one of the most horrifying movies I watched this past year.
Okay.
I think this is more horrifying than Bring Her Back.
Interesting.
I think the way that these characters talk to one another, the dynamic, the chemistry, the way that these characters play off one another, I think it is way more trippy and way more horrifying than Bring Her Back.
That's insane. I kind of want to watch it now.
I really enjoy this. It's a very much a East Coast New York film. It's very much that. But I really enjoy. I think it's best if you just walk into that movie blind. I'm not going to really summarize it because there's not much to summarize. It's basically just a matchmaker who meets this one guy who's very wealthy.
Pedro Pascal and Chris Evans.
And then Chris Evans is her former fling that she dated for 5 years, and the way that she's able to navigate all that. But yeah, I really enjoy The Materialist. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a good movie, and I think it's not a chick flick in the slightest.
Okay.
Because it's very much like. It goes in on Dakota Johnson's character as well. There's a lot of flaws within her character.
Okay.
And I think it's definitely a watch. Definitely encourages discussion.
Okay. Okay.
I really, really enjoyed that movie.
Great. So hey.
But anyways,
you have two movies:
options.
Phoenician Scheme, Materialists.
I would say watch The Materialist more so than the Phoenician Scheme if you have to decide. But either option's good enough. So yeah,
right.
Those are our thoughts.
Those are our thoughts.
We don't know what movie we'll discuss next.
Oh, I know exactly.
What movie?
28 Years Later.
Oh, that's coming out this week?
Comes out this week. Comes out Friday.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, so 28 years later.
Hell yeah.
That'll be it.
All right, that's it for us.
That's it.
We'll discuss the Danny Boyle, Alex Garland movie next week. And maybe we'll discuss Revenge of the Fallen sooner than later.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. If there's a blast to the past, it'll be Revenge of the Fallen.
Nearly over 700 views on that Transformers
video.
video.
Oh, my God.
That's crazy. I don't think we've had 700 people at any of our comedy shows.
Nope. That's a lot. I can't count that high.
Or at any of your plays. It's crazy.
No. I don't know 700 people. I don't have 700 grandmas to invite to my musical.
All right. That's it for us. Bye.